So here we have the metals for the workbench project, just being unwrapped now. So here's the box section. It's very, very long, as you can see. We're going to get that cut up before we take it away in the van and get it back to mine. But everything's arrived. Here's a little bit of the angle, a bit of flat bar, 20mm flat bar, and then we've got our sheet here as well, which is going to be on one half of the workbench. So this will be where some of the stuff is happening. So yeah, I'm going to start cutting now. Is that a bit fuzzy? There we go, that's a bit better. Right, before we jump into the cutting, we're just going to prepare the workspace and also need to do my measures. So we're going to get on that now. Well, using some of the packaging that it's coming, I've broken it down a little bit. I'm going to use that just to lift the metal off the floor, so when we cut it, we don't go straight into the pavement. Got my tape measure, just grabbing some other tools, and then we'll be ready to go. Right, I've removed the cardboard. I'm going to replace it with something a bit more solid. So that'll do. The cardboard would have worked, but there you go. Got a few bits: safety, defenders, ear defenders, some goggles, mask. You might notice that this isn't the stuff I showed you in the inventory video. It's because I'm up at my brother's at the moment, and when I'm lending some tools. This is my dad's tool, Makita grinder. Definitely want to get myself one of these. And so yeah, we're going to start cutting now. Well, first we'll just measure it out, what we need for the first cut, and then as we do each cut, I'm going to re-measure and then continue from there. So I'm going to get the gear on now, or I'll do my measure first, I'll get the gear on, and then we can go from there. So, okay, so let me just have a quick look actually at what we need to cut. Right, so I'm going to start with the legs, and the legs are all going to be at 925mm. So we'll hook this onto the end. We're going to go down here, we're going to find where we are. So here's 90, which is 900mm. Go 920, and then right in the middle there, 925. Right, sound. So that's that measure. So now I've got that mark, I'm basically going to be rolling this over, and as I'm marking it, so we get it all the way around nicely. Unfortunately, we don't have a set square, so I'm going to be using this caliper as a makeshift set square, which should do the trick. So let's have a crack with that now. We'll go here. Let's go a bit more around with that. Okay. It's always nice to have the proper tools that you need. This is not ideal, but it will make do for now. So look at that, that's alright. Thing is, as well, with this black Sharpie, it's not quite as visible as white chalk, so I do prefer to use that, but sometimes you just have to make do with what you've got. Mark that up there, bring that a little bit around, and this should hopefully line up very nicely. And so in that. Yeah, that's sound. Okay, let's roll that back over, and then I'm gonna just do a little mark here. I'm gonna see if I can show you that. One sec. So this is the mark I'm talking about. Gosh, look at my hands. I've just been working. I do apologise. And I'm gonna cut. This is to represent that I'm gonna cut on this side of the line. So that's dead on, and then I'm gonna cut on this side of the line. So then we'll have the perfect cut. So looking at this now. If I was to begin cutting this here, what would happen is, because of the angle it's on, it would fall into the blade and it would catch, and that's going to be a problem for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this piece of wood, move some stuff out of the way, bring this piece of wood right down here onto this side, so that as we chop through it, the metal then falls away and nothing gets caught. So I'm just gonna get set up now. So I'm just gonna make a little pause there. Right, we're gonna go for it. So the mask isn't absolutely necessary, so on this occasion I'm gonna put it to one side. If you're in confined spaces though, I definitely would highly recommend that, but we're out in the fresh air. We're doing one cut. I'm not gonna be doing loads in one go. So I'll just get the goggles on, because you definitely do not want sparks in your eyes. I have had that before and it is not very pleasurable. I'll get the ear defenders on, because I quite like to be able to hear, and then we can get this going. So first cut. Whew. Let's get this baby going. Let's get a bit closer. That's the first cut. Right now. So just be careful to go slowly with it, because metal's quite expensive, and I don't want to be making mistakes. Now I have just realised that I actually cut straight through the line, so that means it's going to be at 1 mil in. So for the next few cuts, I'm also going to do the same, because I'm cutting the legs now, so this is really important that they're all the same height, because otherwise I'm going to have a bit of a wonky table. So I'm going to have the little pause here and just work out what we're going to do next. Right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this piece of metal that's been cut to actually mark the next bit, because that is going to give us a true measure as to what the next bit needs to be. Because I don't mind if it's a few mil out. What I am bothered about is making sure these legs are all the same height as much as possible. Obviously, you know, I'm not super experienced and it is a bit tricky, so it's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. As long as I can get it as close to perfection as possible, I'll be happy. So yeah, so we've got that lined up. I can feel that's lined up there with my fingers, and we're just going to make a little mark here. Right, so that mark, obviously that's on the outside now, so I probably want to cut, yeah, if I do that cut straight through this line, then it's going to give me the bit on the other side, which should be technically the same length as this. So I'm going to mark that up now and do the next cut. Right, so I'm going to measure and cut the next few legs. I think I'm just going to stick it on like a time lapse, and then we'll have a look together to sort of see how well we've done with getting the legs at the nice height. So let's go for it. So sat behind me, we have the the first 4 cuts. Oh my gosh, it's a little bit stressful, I won't lie. See how mucky my face is now on my hands, check that out. Yeah, I do actually have some gloves somewhere, and you know, just by doing this I've already learned that it's going to be really good to have this welding table set up, because it does hurt your back, and maybe it's because I've been grafting all day as well. But yeah, leaning over and stuff like that, it's not ideal really. And also definitely the gloves will come in handy, because you can feel the sparks a bit on your hands, but my hands are pretty tough. So yeah, I'm going to lay these out now, we'll have a quick look and see what they're looking like. I've got a feeling I might have to reduce the height a little bit, and that's good because I have a sanding disc back at my place. So when this is all transported, I will be probably sanding it down to just get them all at a really, really nice height. I'm going to be sanding it anyway, just to brush them up a bit. But I also might just reduce the height just a little bit, just so that they're all nice and flush. Because obviously if you're making a table, you want your legs to be the same height. Right then, so let's have a look. So this is one side. It's looking pretty nice. And then the other side as well, looking pretty nice. So for these cuts, I'm pretty happy with. But can you see this stuff that's flaking off? That's what's going to get sanded down. And we'll make sure that it's looking super clean. And also the same height. So I'm not having the best time here at my dad's right now. So I'm not going to do all the cuts today. I'm just going to get them cut enough so that they can fit in the van, and then I'm going to be able to do the rest of the cuts back at mine. So looking at it, I might just have one cut left to do, and I'm actually going to record it from the other side this time because I've realised my boot's been in the way the whole time, so you've probably not been able to get as nice of an angle. So we're going to set that up for you now. Right, so this next cut we're going to do, it's going to be 1 metre long, and this is going to be one of the lengths of the table. There's going to be 2 lengths in total. There's one coming off what was a 6 metre pole or box section, and then there is one coming off the 3 metre box section. This is actually the 3 metre box section I've switched to now. Once I've taken this metre off, everything should be able to fit in the van. If it doesn't, I will be doing another cut before I can go. So yeah, I'm going to get that measured up, and then I'll show you the cutting because I feel like you'll be able to get a nicer view of it this time. Because like I said, I realised my boot's been on the other side the whole time. So yeah, let's do that now. I don't know how this is going to look, but I'm just also going to show you like a bit more of a close-up of me doing the measuring as well. So you won't be able to see me hook this on at the end, but you should be able to see where I'm measuring it to. So like I said, it's going to be a metre. So we want our first mark to be there. So we'll get a Sharpie. We'll put a mark straight in there. Right, so that is 1 metre. Okay, flip that away. We'll get the caliper, which is not an ideal tool for this. You really want to be using a set square, but we don't have a set square here, so this is what's getting used. So I'm using this part to hold it against the metal, which gives us a very nice straight edge. And then I'm going to mark that there. Oh, that's not marked it very well. Let's try that again. Pen's just started being a bit funny. I can still kind of see it though, so we'll roll with it. It's so easy to get this measure out just a little bit. I seem to always go to the left a bit, so I'm hoping I might do a bit of a better job on this one. I'll just knock that camera, hopefully that's not a problem. I'm going to make sure it's not going over to the left, so bring it back over to the right a bit. There we go. Use that little point there. You see, so it can be so difficult to get this exactly right, but this is the thing, it's just practice. With time I'll work things out, you know. I don't need to be perfect straight away. If I did, I wouldn't have started. There's just no way I was going to do this perfectly first time. And like I said, I have had a bit of experience with this before, but doing it yourself, when you got a bit of stress on as well, which I really didn't need, it's just a bit of a different kettle of fish. So there we go, that's going to link up there nicely. And I'm going to cut it, I'm going to put that mark there because I'm going to cut it on this side. So I'm not actually going to cut through the line, I'm just going to cut literally just like a millimetre to the right of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to get the camera set up in a different position and you should be able to see the cut without my boot in the way. Right, okay, pretty much ready to go. We'll get the safety gear on, we'll get this cut, and then hopefully should be able to go home. And then, like I say, we're making another video where I'll be doing the rest of the cuts. But that'll be in my own space with my own tools. So yeah, let's get this gear on. There we have it. 1 metre, let's have a quick check. See if we're happy with it. 1 metre, nice. Lovely stuff. Okay, cool. Happy day. So I think that should be all the cuts for today. I'm going to see if I can get these poles in the van. And yeah, maybe I'll make another video just popping them in. One thing I'm actually going to do as well, before I stick them in the van, is I'm just going to mark them. So in my design sort of planner, I made numbers to represent each of the parts. So the legs, for example, they're number 1. This other piece I've cut, I'm not too sure, but what I'll do is I'll check back now, and then this just means that when it comes, everything's cut and I need to know what's what, I can just quickly reference, oh, there's the number, that's for that. So that's just to make everything a bit easier. It saves me remeasuring things. So it's quite hard to see, but as I have labelled them 1, and this one happened to be 2. So that's labelled now. I'm going to relabel it back at mine, because I've got my chalk and the chalk shows up a lot better. The Sharpie seems to be dying. And I might do it on a couple of sides. So just so when you can quickly grab them and then look, okay, that's that number. Just makes things a little bit easier. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully be able to stick all this in the van now. If not, I'm doing a little bit more cutting. Probably won't show that. But yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed the video. Maybe I'll just put like the last little bit will just be me loading stuff into the van. But other than that, yeah, this is part 2. Doing a bit of cutting, more cutting to come, more measuring, more cutting. And then we're pretty much going to be ready to go. So yeah, exciting. All right, back at my place now. I completely forgot to make the video for loading up the van. But there you go, I'm back. Materials are on the floor. My hands are super mucky. So yeah, I will be wearing gloves in future. And even my face is a little mucky. So yeah, I'm just going to transport these into the cellar now, and then they'll be ready for next cuts. But I am so tired, I'm going to go rest. So the next, yeah. Oh no, I'm going to release this as a video. So yeah, in part 3, we will have more cutting, more measuring, more action. And then once all that's cut, once all that's ready, really, we can look at welding. My thoughts are that I'm going to hold off on welding any of the table immediately, because I've still not laid a weld, so I need to practice that first. So I think what I'll do is I'll see what offcuts I've got, see what's there, and then just get a bit of practicing. And hopefully I'll be able to get practiced enough that I'll feel confident enough to then actually create this table. So let's see.